I want to go over with you some of the things that the city council does during the year. You all, through your tax money to the city, and everybody else's tax money for that matter, I guess, sent 8 of us to the National League of Cities convention. Mr. McEldowney was unable to go, so he was the mayor for about a week last week. He was in charge of the city last week. We go there the first 2 days. This was like Saturday, March 14th and 15th. We have seminars and workshops. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week, we meet with our congressional delegation. That included meeting with Secretary of the Interior, Ken Salazar, who used to be our state senator. We talked to him about, there's been some rumor that the name of the Rocky Mountain Arsenal National Wildlife Refuge may be changed to something else. And believe me, that's something that we don't want in this city. The Rocky Mountain Arsenal has a great historical significance to this city, how they came and took the land away from people in Commerce City in June of 1942. So we're all very proud to have that Rocky Mountain Arsenal there that we've converted into a National Wildlife Refuge. And we're going to do everything that we can to keep that name the same. And I don't know anybody on our congressional delegation that's going to do anything to the contrary, especially not the Secretary of the Interior, Mr. Salazar. We also met with our new United States Senator, Michael Bennett, and Mark Udall, who was just elected. We have 2 new senators. And we met with our representative from this area of the 7th Congressional District, Ed Perlmutter. And we had several items that we presented to our legislators in Washington, probably the biggest one involving about when we go to Washington, we're asking for money. I mean, that's really about it. We're going to these people, we're saying, get us some money in the budget. So one of the things that we asked for was about $4.5 million for the 96 and Highway 2 interchange that includes the railroad tracks, to get that turned into what they call a quiet crossing. You know, normally when you have a railroad crossing, you have one crossing gate come down like this, the other one comes down like this. A quiet crossing has 4 gates that come down, so you can't go around it. And they build up the size, so you really have to have a Hummer or something to go around it if you want to do that and break off the gates or whatever. But the trains don't have to blow their horns when they come through a quiet crossing. We've got, as I'm told, the only one in the state, and the one at 96 and Highway 2 will probably be the second one in the state.
Yeah, they were the first implemented in the state.
Right.
And they've actually become an area of study for other communities who are looking at implementing quiet zones.
So they're following our example, and I think we're going to get the same thing at 104th and Highway 2 eventually, once we get the money. This is about $4.5 million just to convert that intersection into a quiet intersection.
Just to add to that, the ultimate goal is to do what they've done at Highway 2 and 80th Avenue and 88th Avenue and actually expand that to its ultimate dimensions in either direction. What that does is allow for a little bit longer viability of that roadway without having to expand Highway 2 to its ultimate 2 or, you know, the 2 lanes in each direction. By expanding each of those intersections, it allows more vehicles to move through and gives us a little bit more time to work with the state to eventually take Highway 2 over and expand it as we would ultimately like to. So.
Yeah, that's another whole discussion about what we're going to do with Highway 2, because right now the Colorado Department of Transportation controls that. We don't have the right to go in and build it, even if we have the money to do that. A lot of discussions are going on, but I guess that's probably going to be for some future meeting. But how many of you have seen the crossing at 80th, Rosemary and Highway 2 and Quebec, where it all comes together? Right. That's a quiet crossing where you have all 4 gates coming down. They don't have to blow their horn. And of course, the people who live in Eagle Creek, which is about 60 feet away from the railroad track, are going to be very pleased when we get this quiet crossing built there, because they're not going to be waked up in the middle of the night by some diesel horn blowing in their right outside their window.
Do you feel there's enough room there to ultimately make it a 4-lane highway?
I don't.
It's clearly going to be a challenge.
You're talking about the where it narrows,
yeah.
right at 96 and Highway 2 can
yeah,
be expanded to 4 lanes.
Those residential
I don't know, but
being,
traffic engineers, they've gone to school for a lot of years. They'll be able to find a way to do it, whether it's over and under or whatever. They'll be able to find a way to do it.
Yeah, I've talked to Darren Sterling, our city engineer, and I think the challenge is that it is tighter than they would like. I think They've got some ideas on how they could do it with, squeezing it into that very narrow area. It's not how they ultimately like to see it, like we see the 104th corridor or otherwise, but I think they've got a way to kind of shoehorn it in there, but it's gonna be tight, no question.
They'll find a way, though. If we come up with the money, building a 4-lane road costs about $12 million a mile. And that's gonna go up. And like just this intersection at 96 and Highway 2, it's about $4.5 million. Now, there's another part of that project to make 96 a 4-lane from Highway 2 down to Buckley. That's gonna cost about another $4 or $5 million to make it like 104, maybe more than that. But that's not something that we, anytime you get federal money, it costs more because of the excess studies that have to be made on it. So we didn't want this whole project to be subject to federal scrutiny, thereby increasing the cost by about 35 or 40% because of the environmental studies that have to be done anytime it's a federal project. So we didn't ask for any money for that. Another project was the Tower Road interchange onto Pena. Now, you all know that to get to the airport, you've either got to get on E470 or you've got to go down to 56 to get on Pena to come back around to go to the airport. And that was a deal that was made with E470 that we couldn't do that for a certain number of years. Those years have expired. And now, after 2011, they say that they will do it, but it doesn't say when they will do it, or if they have to do it if they don't have the money. So we're trying to, you understand what I mean? Go down Tower and be able to turn right on and get onto Pena Boulevard. Now you can do the little, well, you turn left to go to Pena Boulevard to go to the airport. But this is going to be so you can turn right and get on Pena Boulevard without having to get on E470 to do it. And
You gotta go down to 56 to get on to.
right, yeah, otherwise. How many of you have transponders for E470? Okay, now you understand that gives you a break on E470. Gives you about a 25-cent break. And even if you don't have a transponder, you can still drive through the express lanes, because they'll get your license number. You won't get a ticket, you'll get a bill. You don't pay the bill, then you'll get a ticket. As of July the 1st, there'll be no way to pay cash to drive on E470. It'll be all license plate driven or transponder driven. So you can drive on it whether you have a transponder or not, but it'll save you 25 cents if you have a transponder. So, and it's, E470 sells time. You want to get someplace faster,